Welcome to the Neural Implant Podcast, where we talk with the people behind the current events and breakthroughs in brain implants in an understandable way, helping bring together various fields involved in neuroprosthetics. Here is your host, Laden Yuracek.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Neural Implant Podcast. Today's guest is Dr. Antoni Ivorra and Nicolas Barabino, and we had recorded a post-workshop conference recording for the Active Implantable Medical Device workshop in Barcelona, which was June 5th and 6th, 2025. Very cool conference or workshop put on by you two. So I just wanted to have a, post-workshop talk and talk about what we had gone over and what were some of the notable things. Nicolas has already been on the show, so I guess we'll start with you. Dr. Ivorra, do you want to introduce yourself and then talk about your background? Why were you hosting the workshop? And then, what was your favorite things from the workshop?
Yeah, well, my name is Toni Ivorra. I am professor at the Universitat Pompeu Fabra, which is a public university in Barcelona. And I've been working around the field of implants for now 10 years, a little bit more than 10 years. Actually, in the past, I also had an interest in that. And because of our interest, we have been in contact with different people. And one of the persons that we were in contact with for now a few years was with Nicolas. And he's in Barcelona. And for some time, we were exchanging, mostly every week meeting. And at some point, he suggested the idea of trying to do something, an expanded version of something that he did in Uruguay last year. And I was a little bit reluctant because I knew that was going to be a lot of work. It was going to be more than a simple workshop. It was going to be a small conference, and that's what we ended up having. But at the end, I said, okay, let's go for it because it can be interesting for the community, local community in Barcelona, even if it's an international event focused for industry and for academics. It can also be interesting for students. And that's what we ended up having.
Excellent. Nicolas, do you want to put your side, your input? How was it? And I guess what's your background to reintroduce yourself, I guess?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm Nicolas. I'm an electronics engineer. And I've been working on active implants since I started working in the industry like 15 years ago. Before that, I did a PhD in microelectronics. So it was very much focused on doing research. And then, in the industry, I work in designing implants, mostly for neuromodulation, but also for other applications, including mechanical circulatory support. And I worked first for a big company, then for multiple startups. And now, since a few years, I've been consulting first on my own and more recently with a team. And this when I did this in Uruguay last year, as Tony was saying, was something smaller, but still it was a one day full of presentations, mostly focused on the technology aspects, not that much on the technical needs. And this time with Tony, we wanted to do something that was, first 2 days and 50% clinical research and 50% industry. And I think it turned out great. I mean, I'm very happy about how it was. And people gave me excellent feedback. I really like to hear that both local people and also people from outside, mainly from the other parts from Europe, but also a couple of some people from the United States too. Yeah, they told me the presentations were really interesting. So we touched on very, I would say trendy subjects like soft electrodes. We had quite some focus on that, and also on the other, let's say, applications and the technologies for all kind of implants. So it was very comprehensive and diverse, and at the same time a bit focused on that. So really happy about it.
Yeah, very cool. And so it was meant or somewhat aimed a little bit towards students. What percentage of students were attendees and where were they from?
I don't remember now, but I remember that we had like about 150 attendees. I think 1/3 came from other parts from Europe, right outside Spain. And then the other 2/3, I think, 1/3 from Barcelona area and 1/3 from the rest of Spain. I think the maybe from the Barcelona, it was a bit mixed, students and people from the industry, research, and then from the rest of Spain was mainly students and researchers. And from outside from outside Spain, yeah, quite some people from the industry, from startups, and also some service providers.
Okay, very cool. And yeah, so what kind of talks were there? You mentioned the soft implantable devices. What were some other topics, Jenna, that we had gone over?
We kicked off with a talk from Victor Pico, which turned out to be very well, I would say, a great fit for being the first talk, because it was about bioelectronic medicine and what are the needs from bioelectronic medicine for active implants. So especially for people that didn't know what bioelectronic medicine was and what's the enormous potential it has, it was great. Then we follow with several talks about soft electrodes, as I said. Also, we had a discussion panel on the first day about technologies for active implants. So we invited people from the industry and from both from startups and service providers like CDMOs and also researchers, to discuss about how the future implants will look like, what are the trends like miniaturization, wireless power transfer, etc. It was really informative, I would say, and some of the things that came out of that panel, I think, was a bit there were unexpected. Like, for instance, that miniaturization might not be that important as we initially thought. Then on the second day, we had, as I said, a more diverse program. We had talks on implantable glucose sensors, also on the hearing aids, future technologies, new capabilities that are currently being explored. And we also had a bit more of soft electrodes, intraneural electrodes. And we had a couple of talks, which were the final ones that they really like, from neurosurgeons. So I think, first of all, that is great to see that kind of talk, right? Because usually neurosurgeons don't go to these workshops, to these conferences. So they gave their perspective. And so one was Gloria Villalba, a neurosurgeon from Barcelona, who's doing very interesting research and clinical work, pushing the boundaries of what we think it might be possible with neurostimulation for treating neuropsychiatric disorders. And the last one was Dirk Derrida, which is a very well-known professor, researcher, also neurosurgeon, but I think he doesn't practice anymore. He's dedicated to research, who, was, I think, a great ending, because he kind of put everything together, right? So he talked about the clinical need. He referred a lot to what Gloria had just presented. Also, he presented his view for how the future implants need to be, distribute stimulation, so miniature implants, wireless. Yeah, it was really, really nice.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, it was a nice diversity. So I guess maybe we should define, what does active implantable medical device mean? And, we did have some non-neurotech companies or non-neurotech people to present, but it did seem like there was a focus on this. Is there a reason for that?
Well, the term active implantable medical devices is the kind of the term that is used by regulatory agencies to define electronic medical implants. This is the let's say the official term used, and that's why we decided to adopt it, because it's adopted by some companies. The neurotech, there was a strong focus in neurotech. And we believe, and this is our perception, that there is, and this was something that appeared in the panels that we had. We had two panels. Nicolas mentioned we had a panel about technologies, which, by the way, it was in the technologies we not only focused on the future, and one of the things that we had were presentations on graphene, on the possibilities of graphene transistors for recording low frequency, very ultra low frequency action potentials, but also on oxide of graphene used for electrodes, to create stimulation electrodes. But we also covered, let's say, technologies that are used right now, and technologies which have been used for a long time. And there was a permanent debate that there is always, and we have talks about that, how to package, how to protect the electronics, and we had some interesting presentations on that. And something that appeared at the neurotech, why was this focus? The thing is that it seems that there are a lot of startups in this area. The volume in terms of business, let's say, probably is still the volume in terms of market, probably is still cardiac applications. I mean, basically meaning pacemakers. But this is kind of apparently dominated by consolidated companies. If we see the activity where a lot of companies are flourishing and where a lot of applications are appearing are in these neuro technologies for neuroprosthetics and also for bioelectronic medicine. This is where it seems that there is a lot of active activity in the sense of new companies and new startups and new ideas. And that's what we felt. There are developments like the glucose sensor that was presented, of course, but we felt that there was a lot of activity, and that's why we had so many participants from that area.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I've heard, the cardiac space is pretty mature, and neurotech is the one that's growing and, developing, and we're learning about that a lot. So maybe that might be it too. This episode is sponsored by blackswan-ip, a boutique law firm specializing in intellectual property for neurotech and medtech startups, founded by Eugene Daneshvar, who holds both a JD and PhD in biomedical engineering. blackswan-ip helps innovators secure patents, develop smart IP strategies, and even navigate funding. Whether you're an early-stage startup or scaling your medtech venture, they'll work with you using flat-fee pricing and deep technical expertise. Learn more at blackswan-ip.com. All right, so what's on the radar? Are we going to be doing this again next year? Is it going to be in Barcelona again? Are you guys going to be in charge of it again? What's it looking like?
Good question. We don't know. Yeah, so I think we are both very, very happy about the outcome. But yeah, when you think about when would be the best moment, and also consider options for doing it outside, as you said, in other locations. So definitely in Europe, there's a lot of interest, right? Mainly because of neurotechnology, as you were just saying. And so, yeah, there are actually several events happening actually around the same time of the year. Here in Europe, we had actually not exactly an overlap, but almost an overlap with other similar events. And so, yeah, we want to, of course, keep doing it and provide this opportunity for the community. I think everybody appreciates, additionally to the presentations, the discussion panels, the opportunity to network, right? Because it's definitely difficult to find spaces like that one. And usually we have to go to the US to find these opportunities. So I think people liked it also because of that. And yeah, I think it would be good to keep doing it to foster that community interaction.
So what were some of your guys' favorite parts of the conference or the workshop? What were some favorite topics? And yeah, what do you think has some of the biggest future in this field?
So additionally to the readers and Gloria Villalba's presentation, which I said, I think they are really, it's rare to see neurosurgeons getting involved with engineers in these kind of discussions. I really like Ben Goodington's from Coherence, formerly OptoBio, who's developing a system for treating brain cancer with neurostimulation. And so essentially they are building a platform that they are using now for this application and also other kind of cancer. It was really, I think, really nice because of the technology aspect, right? So everything they are doing to try to have a very powerful yet flexible, versatile platform. And also because of all the potential it has for treating cancer, as he was describing. And also he announced something that I think is cool. I think there's some more in LinkedIn about that. They open source their platform for preclinical studies. So again, I think that that's great for the community, and might really help other young companies to they can leverage that to get faster and be successful and beyond cancer, right? So it's a platform that could be used for anything neuro, or even beyond neuro, other active implants applications.
One thing that some attendees really valued was the diversity that we had, and even the fact that we considered market aspects for startups and bringing, for instance, a patent lawyer and speaking about what the investors look for. This was something that some people found it very attractive in the panel discussing about where, let's say, which are the best resources or tools that we have in Europe for that. This is something that was appreciated by a lot of attendees. I particularly enjoyed a lot the technological talks, the talks that we had on soft electrodes by Thomas Stiglitz, Vasiliki Giacca, and Giuseppe Schiavoni. Those were talks that I enjoy, and of course also the talk by Victor Pikov at the beginning was very illuminating in the sense of the opportunities that there is in bioelectronic medicine, and then the other talks about the graphene. I also found them very, very, very interesting. So I think it's for me what it was very interesting is to see how, particularly being from Barcelona, how there is a lot of things. I mean, this in brain company, which is behind or related to toward the three talks that we had there, what they are doing. I think it was interesting to know the fact that now we have a pool of people working on implants in Barcelona and very advanced, where before we had basically nothing, and also how this is linked with all the European landscape. You saw that people knew each other and have been interacting for a long time. And I think that was interesting from the academic point of view. So we are talking about people that is in academia and creating startups, and from companies that provide services and products that also were participating as exhibitors. And to see that people was interacting in the exhibitor area. So it was a small conference, but we had our own exhibitor area. And that was super, to me, it was super interesting because for such a small conference, I mean, 150 participants, in which there is a lot of, let's say, in focus on the talks, the exhibitor area was really active. It felt really commercial, and you saw that the people was interacting, the professionals, the students were asking a lot. So it was interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to add just that I think was also interesting for these people, the CDMOs, the service providers, who I think are usually, they go to trade shows, and even when they go to conferences, they stay in the exhibitor area. But this time they went to the auditorium, and they attended the presentations, and there were interactions between them and those who are developing new technologies that one day might end up being manufactured by them. So I think they really appreciated, and I got positive feedback in that sense, right? That it was a rare and interesting opportunity for them.
Yeah, that is a valuable thing, and get their input as well. So a lot of this was not focused, but aimed towards students, and there's a large student number of attendees. So what are some advice for students? How can they take advantage of this kind of conference the most? Should they attend when there's one next year? Ojalá. Is it going to be, what should they do? How should they approach a meeting like this?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that it's. I mean, I also thought during the conference that if I had been a student, right, I would have found really amazing that kind of opportunity, right, to attend a conference with people that were doing very interesting things, and to find a potential career path, to find the companies or research groups I could work with. So I think that they all end up very happy of participating, and I think that definitely students should take advantage of these opportunities. And again, there are not many in Europe, but there are some. So if they are not very far, they should try to go.
Yeah, let's say the fee that they had to pay was extremely low. It was very, very low. Just to promote that they could participate in other conferences, it would be probably not so low. Basically, because we were organizing that in a university, we wanted it to be open to students, not only to our students in our university. There were students from our university, but there were also from other universities in Barcelona and other universities in Spain and from abroad. And we are talking about undergrad and graduate students. So that was kind of something that was interesting for them. But and it's unique. It's unique in the sense that we were organizing in a university next year. Who knows? But or 2 years. But the thing is that now it was a rare opportunity. It was a rare opportunity for them, and which I feel that the ones that attended really used their time and really interacted and did a a good job, and that's the impression I got.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the conference, I think, was 10 euros for early birds for students and 15 euros for those who ordered later on, and that's an extremely reasonable price for something like this. I've attended conferences that are literally 100 times more expensive, and you get the same value. So I have to confirm that it was a very good value, and the level of talent and information and wisdom from this field was there as well. So I think that's something important, is just do some conversations, just have at least one good conversation per day, so something like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like this, where the person remembers you, and you can reach out a week later or something like this, and they will have remembered you because it was a good conversation, and just one of those per day, and that's probably pretty good. So I think people, if they can attend this, if maybe next year if it's in Europe, then they should definitely do so, and I highly recommend it. So keep an ear out, keep your ears open for any announcements on this podcast if that does happen. So, gentlemen, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to mention?
No. Thank you, Leland, first for participating to the workshop, and now for doing this podcast. So this podcast is great. I think it was actually one of the first podcasts related to medical neuro that I started following a long time ago. And since the beginning, I thought that the idea was great to cover this industry that now is more trendy, but maybe a few years ago when you started, 2017, you started, right?
Yep.
It was still quite niche.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be more mainstream.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed the show and were able to learn something new, bringing together different fields in novel ways. Until next time on the Neural Implant Podcast.